Captain Slow just dropped $2.2 million on a car that can't even touch 60 mph. But here's the twist. James May's car collection has never been about raw speed, while most people remember him as the calm, careful, and slightly quirky host of Top Gear and the Grand Tour. Real enthusiasts know him differently, as the man with one of the most eccentric and unexpectedly breathtaking garages on Earth. From a jaw-dropping $1.2 million Rolls-Royce he openly calls perfectly awful, to a Ferrari he bought just to prove Clarkson wrong, May's choices are never and wait until you see number 5, a car so rare its own manufacturer tried to erase it from history. This isn't just a car collection, it's what happens when you hand an engineering geek a blank check and a mischievous sense of humor. Number 1, 1970 Plymouth Hemi, CUDA. Convertible. James May calls this car America's greatest act of automotive lunacy. And he's not wrong, only 14 Hemi convertibles were ever built in 1970, and just 4 with a manual gearbox. To May, it's the car equivalent of bringing a nuclear weapon to a knife fight, which he says with that sly grin only he can pull off. The 486 Hemi under the hood is Chrysler's middle finger to Logic, officially rated at 485 horsepower, but May jokes that figure is about as honest as a politician's tax return. Truth? It's closer to 500. The story of how he found it is pure comedy. A barn in Wisconsin, hidden since '74 because the owner's wife thought it was sold. Every Sunday after church, he'd sneak out to check on livestock, really just starting up his secret Hemi. Restoration revealed bourbon bottles in a spare well and logs of every single visit. May obsessed for 2 years over getting the exact plum crazy purple shade right, even finding the original 90-year-old paint mixer who still had the formula. Only James May would go to such insane lengths for perfection. Number 2, 1963 Ferrari. 250 GT, this one cuts deep. May bought it purely because Clarkson once mocked it as the worst Ferrari ever built. And if you know James May, you know that was never going to stand. With quiet determination, he spent 2 long years breathing life back into the car, painstakingly restoring it piece by piece. When the project was done, he didn't just drive it around the block to prove a point. He wrote a 12,000-word essay defending his honor, explaining why the 250 GTE is secretly one of the most significant Ferraris in history. Underneath that, elegant bodywork sits a 3.0-liter Colombo V12 producing 240 horsepower. May jokes that it requires more maintenance than a British Royal, but he says that's exactly what makes every startup feels like every drive an act of devotion. For him, the 250 GTE marks Ferrari's turning point. The moment Enzo allowed his company to evolve from pure race machines into cars for families, dignitaries, and dreamers. It was the Ferrari that brought children, luggage, and everyday life into the brand's DNA. Without it, May argue, the Ferrari empire might never have grown beyond the race. The car's individual story only deepens its mystique. It came with service records from none other than Enzo Ferrari's personal mechanic, detailing experiments with air conditioning. Of course, it barely worked, puffing out more warm air than cold. But that failure, in May's eyes, is what makes it beautiful. It was Ferrari daring to innovate, even if imperfectly. During restoration, May cataloged every nut, bolt, and bracket with almost monastic dedication. He created diagrams, notes, and what he jokingly calls a workshop manual for people with OCD. Every imperfection, every quirk was documented, so no detail would ever be lost to time. Today, his 250 GTE isn't just another classic Ferrari. It is perhaps the most thoroughly documented one in existence. And when May talks about it, you sense it isn't just a car to him. It's a rebuttal to Clarkson. Yes, but also a love letter to the quiet importance of misunderstood machines. Where others saw the worst Ferrari ever, James May saw history, soul, and a story worth saving. Number 3, 1969 Ford Mustang. Boss 420 known what May calls America's answer to a question nobody asked. Only 859 of these monstrous Boss 429 Mustangs were ever built. And from the moment it rolled off the line, it seemed born for NASCAR chaos rather than civilized roads. Its 429 cubic inch V8 is a legend itself, so massive that Ford had to redesign the engine, relocate the battery to the trunk, and even reinforce the chassis just to make it fit. To James May, it's not just a car, it's a statement. He calls it gloriously, unnecessarily excessive, and anyone who has seen him grin behind the wheel knows he means it. He discovered this particular example abandoned in Arizona, left to gather dust since 1970 when soaring gas prices rendered it almost impractical to drive. The moment he laid eyes on it, May saw more than a rusted hulk. He saw potential, history, and sheer audacity captured in steel. During restoration, his team uncovered a treasure trove of handwritten engineering notes hidden under the trunk. Lid, detailing test runs, alternative camshaft setups, and tire experiment. Each page seemed to whisper the obsessive madness of the engineers who built it. May is fascinated not just by its raw power, but by the philosophy behind it. A car designed with no compromises, unapologetically American in its ambition and absurdity. When he drives it, he says you can feel the car thinking along with you. A V8 behemoth that rewards patience, respect, and a sense of humor. Every roar of the engine is a reminder that this wasn't meant to be sensible. It was meant to impress, intimidate, and entertain. Beyond the mechanics, the boss has personality. Every dent, every panel, every smell of aged leather tells a story of speedway legends, barn finds, and the boldness of an era when car makers dared to defy logic. For May, this isn't just a Mustang, it's a chronicle of human obsession and unrestrained engineering, a testament to the beauty of controlled chaos. Number 4, 1959 Bentley S2 Continental. May calls it the car time forgot to. Only 338 of these rare S2 Continentals were ever built, and his comes with quirky details that instantly spark curiosity. Picnic tables hidden in the rear, an experimental aluminum radiator, and every hint of old-world elegance imaginable. Beneath its endless bonnet sits a 6.2-liter V8, which Bentley understatedly described as efficient. May chuckles at that word, pointing out that this rolling palace weighs nearly 3 tons, yet somehow moves with a dignity that modern luxury cars can only aspire to. Its story is pure aristocracy. Originally owned by a lord who drove it only to lunch at his London club, the car came with handwritten notes about which parking attendants could be trusted with the keys, which routes were ideal to avoid potholes, and even which horses are nearby. Stables might spook at the wrong angle of sunlight. May's team stumbled upon this treasure decades later in a dusty country house garage, untouched yet perfectly preserved. During what he calls a sympathetic recommissioning, they found temperature logs from secret Rolls-Royce radiator tests tucked in the glove box, a reminder of a time when engineers experimented not for profit, but for pure refinement. Driving the Bentley is a revelation. Every turn of the steering wheel feels like holding a piece of history. Every leather-scented breath inside the cabin, a connection to a bygone era of unhurried wealth and impeccable taste. The hidden picnic tables are not merely whimsical. They embody the belief that luxury, surprise, delight, and occasionally, for May, this is more than a car. It is the last gasp of true British luxury before accountants and committees strip soul from opulence. Every detail, from the subtly polished wood veneers to the gently ticking engine at idle, tells a story of craftsmanship, patience, and a world where elegance was paramount. Owning it, restoring it, and driving it are acts of devotion. James May, this Bentley isn't just a classic. It's a portal to a time when cars were art, lifestyle, and statement all at once. And that's precisely why he loves it, because it is in every sense absurdly magnificent. Number 5, 1963 Chevrolet Corvette split window. May proudly calls it America's only proper sports car. But this isn't just any Corvette. It's one of only 199 ever built with an ultra-rare Z06 package and fuel injection, a combination that instantly elevates a legend. For James May, it's the embodiment of American audacity with a touch of sophistication, proving that the country can engineer something elegant if only it bothers to stop being frivolous long enough. Every curve of its split window body, every polished chrome accent is a statement of design that refuses to compromise style for practicality. He found his gem tucked away in Montana, hidden since 1975 by a rancher who raced it casually on weekends. For decades, it had lain in silence, its V8 heart quietly waiting for someone who appreciated both its power and its quirks. When May and his team uncovered it, they stumbled upon a fascinating piece of history. The Corvette had been used as a dealer training car. Inside the trunk lay the original Chevrolet training film, still intact. A time capsule of how the brand taught young salesmen the art of selling a masterpiece. The fuel injection system, May insists, is sacrosanct. Unlike modern carburetors that would make it easier to drive, the original setup is temperamental, precise, and entirely part of the car's character. To change it, he says, would miss the entire point. Every startup feels like waking a living relic. Every shift a conversation between man and machine. Restoration revealed tiny details, from carefully painted trim lines to the subtle hum of Rochester injectors that spoke to a level of craftsmanship often overlooked in American muscle cars. Driving it is an experience that teeters between exhilaration and reverence. The engine roars with unapologetic authority, yet the car carries a sense of elegance, almost European in its restraint. For May, this Corvette is more than metal and horsepower. It is a story of ingenuity, hidden treasures, and the rare moments when American engineering meets pure artistry. Number 6, 1979 Porsche Carrera GT3. This is where Captain Slow truly flips the script. The 1979 Porsche Carrera GT3 isn't just rare, it's one of only 20 right-hand drive models ever imported to the UK. May bought it for what he insists were purely scientific reasons, to prove that in the right hands, older Porsches can still outpace, outhandle, and downright terrify modern machines. And let's be clear, this car is not forgiving. Its 3.6-liter flat six produces staggering 380 horsepower. But horsepower isn't the point here. There's no ABS, no radio, no power steering, just a raw, unfiltered connection between driver and machine. And that, according to May, is where the magic lives. He discovered it locked away in a Sheffield garage, abandoned by a dentist who had apparently been spooked by its reputation. The moment May saw it, he knew he had stumbled onto something extraordinary. When the restoration began, his team uncovered that this particular GT3 had been a factory development, complete with German break-in instructions still hanging under the hood. Every note, every tag, every scratch told a story of meticulous engineering, obsessive testing, and Porsche's unrelenting pursuit of perfection. As if that weren't enough, May tracked down the original test drive. According to him, this GT3 was the only one in the development series that didn't attempt to kill him on his first runs. That anecdote captures the essence of what May loves about this car. It is beautiful, dangerous, and intellectually demanding all at once. Driving it isn't just transportation. It's a lesson in patience, precision, and respect. Every corner taken and every throttle input reminds you that machines like this weren't built for convenience. They were built for those who dare to truly understand them. For James May, this Porsche is more than a car. It is a statement, a rolling testament to the thrill of mastery, the reward of discipline, and the joy of engineering unbound by compromise. Number 7, 1963 Studebaker. Avanti R2 James calls it America's greatest moment of clarity before the madness. One of only 46 factory supercharged cars, it came with a Paxton blower decades ahead of its time. He laughs. It's like finding out your granddad invented the internet. The car was originally owned by a California aerospace engineer, tucked away with classified missile documents. May's restoration uncovered original Bonneville timings, proving it hit 168 miles per hour, the fastest production car of its day. For him, it's proof Americans can do elegance, even with a V8 number 8. 1985 Ferrari 308 GTB QVMA bought it to defend Magnum PI's taste. Its 2.9-liter V8 makes 240 horsepower, fed by Weber carbs that May says demand more attention than a newborn baby. He treasures it precisely because it makes you earn every single mile. Originally owned by a Swiss banker with a bizarre meteorological driving law, this car came with hidden Ferrari test sheets, proving it made 7 more horsepower than standard. May keeps those documents locked in a climate-controlled safe. And yes, he wrote 5,000 words about why that matters. Number 9, 1977 Triumph. Dolomite Sprint May calls it the thinking man's BMW. This isn't just a Dolomite, it's an actual development car from British Leyland's Racing Pro, fitted with experimental Weber carbs and aluminum head. He found it abandoned in Birmingham with original engineering notes still inside. Restoration even uncovered rally pace notes under the carpet. May grins when recalling the team's tea lady, who remembered it only because it was the one car that didn't leak oil on her floor. Number 10. 1969 Lamborghini Espada 1 of only 176 Series 1 cars, painted in what May swears is the worst Lamborghini color ever, metallic brown. He adores it. Its 4.0 liter V12 makes 325 horsepower through 6 carbs that require saintly patience. Originally owned by a Milan philosophy professor who wrote a 300-page thesis calling it the ultimate artwork, the car even came with that thesis, still in the glove box. May restored it knowing it was once a test mule for a Lamborghini's first AC system, which of course never worked properly. Number 11. 1973 Alfa Romeo GTV 2000. The car, May says, makes perfect sense while being utterly irrational. Its twin-cam 2.0 puts out 130 horses through carbs that must be synced with atomic clock precision. He loves it for its tendency to try to kill you. Its story, owned by a Rome orchestra conductor who raced it between shows, then abandoned. In Florence for 15 years, restoration revealed it was used to test Alfa's electronic ignition. It's scrapped because it was too reliable. May proudly displays those prototype parts but still runs it on old school. Number 12, 1968 Ford GT40 MK3 Pure Legend, one of just 7 road-going GT40s ever, and the only one with experimental AC. Its 289 V8 makes 306 horsepower, just enough to terrify. May calls it proof America only builds sports cars out of revenge. The way he acquired it? Chaos. The body in Kent. The engine uses a California coffee, the gearbox sitting at auction in Belgium. 4 years later, May pieced it together with Ford archives, even keeping the hilariously bad prototype steering set. Number 13, 1963 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud 3. The last car built by craftsmen who didn't care about cost. Only 12 made with experimental aluminum panels. He bought it simply because sometimes a car should make absolutely no sense. Its 6.2 V8 was rated only as adequate, but the interior was absurdly lavish, with 17 woods and endless leather. During restoration, May uncovered original craftsman signatures inside panels, even tracking down the son of the original woodworker to finish it exactly as intended. Number 14, 1957 BMW 507, the car that nearly bankrupted BMW, and May owns. The actual press launch example, just 252 were ever built. Its 3.2 V8 makes a modest 150 horsepower, but May says the sound alone is worth everything. Driven by legends like Fangio and Elvis, May found it untouched in Switzerland in '75. Restoration cost more than his house, and he even tracked down a 90-year-old factory worker who remembered this exact car for its perfect exhaust note. And that's James May's garage. From Italian divas to British aristocrats, from American lunacy to German precision, every car is a story of obsession, defiance, and charm. May doesn't just collect cars. He curates them, documents them, and most importantly, drives them. And maybe that's why we love him, because only Captain Slow could make fuel injection tolerance sound just as thrilling as a Nürburgring lap record.